Hello, beautiful people, and welcome. In this video, we are talking about rotations. That is taking a pre-image, rotating it, and then getting your image. Disclaimer, I am human. If I make a mistake, that's okay. I would like to learn from my mistakes. So let me know if I make a mistake. If not, fantastic. That will be a happy moment. All right, let's get started. So a rotation is a turn. There are different ways that you can turn. You can turn counterclockwise, or going this way, or you can turn clockwise or going this way. Now, each way has a angle measure or the rotation. So for example, 90 degrees, 180 degrees, 270 degrees. But if you notice, let me zoom in here. Counterclockwise and clockwise, they have the same rule, but the measurement is different. So if we go 90 degrees counterclockwise, that's the same thing as saying I go 270 degrees clockwise. Now let's go ahead and just talk about the degrees that we're going. So usually you're going to start here, but you're going to actually start, and we'll talk about this a little bit more in an example, you're going to start wherever your pre-image is. However, I'm going to tell you, if we start here, this is counterclockwise 90 degrees. This is let me actually change color so you can see. This is counterclockwise 180 degrees. This is counterclockwise 270 degrees. So counterclockwise, you have 90, 180, and 270. Now, if we go clockwise, if we go the opposite direction, let me get three other colors. This would be 90 degrees, and I'll just write it on the inside so we know these are the clockwise measures. So that's 90 degrees. This here is 180. Now 180 is the same. If you know, we start here, we go clockwise, or we go counterclockwise, we still have 180 degrees. And for the last one, we have 270. So 270, if we start here and go all the way around clockwise, that's going to be, let's do it here, 270 degrees. So knowing which direction to go is super duper important, because that's going to depend on what rule you use. Let's talk about the rules. Just like when we did translations, transformations, dilations, we're going to have a starting original point, and that point's going to change a certain way. So if you have a rotation for 90 degrees counterclockwise or counterclockwise of 170 degrees, your rule is you're going to switch the position of your x and y, and you're going to make the new y negative. For 180, you have your original point, and that's going to change to a negative x and a negative y. And for 170, counterclockwise or 90 degrees clockwise, we have our starting point, and our rule is that your y and x change. However, now your negative is on the x. Now, when you say negative, I'm going to say not negative. Think opposite. And we'll do that. I'll keep that here, but you're not thinking like a negative number. You're thinking the opposite of a number. Here are just some examples that I did. Let's say we want to rotate this counterclockwise. So counterclockwise, you'd be going in the, kind of think from your right hand to your left hand. And if you're going clockwise, you're going from your left hand to your right. Let's do some examples. A T-chart is going to be your best friend when you're doing these. So we have graph the image of the figure using the transformation. Remember, pre-image is before or prior. Image is the after. You're going to take your ruler. You don't have to use a ruler for this, but I'm going to create a T-chart. Just like we did when we were working on translations, transformations, and dilations. You're going to have three different things. You're going to have your original points, and you're going to have your new points, and you're going to have your rule. Now notice that your rule is not given to you. What is given to you is the direction, and it's giving to you the points. I hesitated there for a second, but it's giving you the points. So here we have the original, the rule, and the new points. What are the original points? Well, let's go ahead and take a look. Let's start with I. I is at -1 and 1, 2, 3, so -1 and 3. Always label the letters. J is at -2 and 1, 2, 3, 4. And our K value is -1. Here's our origin, so 1, 2, 3, 4, negative, and 1, 2, 3, up. So here are our original points. Now, we didn't really get the rule. However, we know what the rule is. Anytime it says about the origin, but doesn't tell you counterclockwise, this right here means you're going clockwise. If they tell you counterclockwise, then you know you're going the opposite direction. So what that means is I'm going clockwise, a rotation of 180. I'm looking at my cheat sheet. Let's see if I have my cheat sheet here. Nope, I put it to the side. Here's my cheat sheet. So I'm going rotation 180 clockwise, right? About the origin. So technically with 180, it doesn't matter if you go counter or clockwise because the rule is the same for both. So we have the rule, we're going to write that out. We have x comma y goes to -x comma -y. This is where I wanted to talk about the negatives. It doesn't really mean negative. What this really means is take the opposite. Opposite. So think of it this way for your rule. You're doing opposite of your x value, comma, opposite y. Again, opposite x, comma, opposite y. It's not a negative. Opposite x, opposite y. And again, I keep referring to the original translation dilation video. So let's go ahead and put our x and y's. Here is our x values, our y values. So I have -1, 3, -2, 4, -4, 3. Think opposite. So what is the opposite of a -1? The opposite of a -1 is 1. The opposite of 3 is -3. The opposite of -2 is +2. The opposite of 4 is a -4. The opposite of -4 is a +4. The opposite of 3 is -3. Now, as always, make sure that you are labeling your points. This is I prime, J prime, and K prime. Let's graph this. We have 1 and -3. That's our I prime. We have 2 and -4. That's our J prime. And we have 4 and -3. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3. And that is our K prime. Connect the dots. And there you have it. You have rotated your pre-image 180 degrees about the origin. And again, we're doing clockwise or counterclockwise since the rule is the same. Let's write that. Or counter for 180 degrees, rule is the same. I went ahead and skipped a little bit further. I wanted to find an example that doesn't have 180 degrees. So rotation 90 degrees counterclockwise. Okay, so 90 degrees counterclockwise about the origin. So I'm going back to my cheat sheet here, and I'm looking for counterclockwise. Counterclockwise is right here, and I'm looking for 90 degrees. 90 degrees counterclockwise, that means this is my rule. -y, comma, x. So let's do a quick t-chart. I'm not even going to use my ruler this time. Here's my original points. Here's my rule. Here's my new points. So regarding the rule, x comma y goes to a negative y comma x. Remember that we are not treating negatives like a negative. We're treating the negatives like an opposite. So that means I have an opposite y. So what happens with the rule? If you look at the rule, it looks like the x and the y switch position. So that means that going from your original point to your new point, you're going to switch your x and y position. The x and the y switch places, so you're going to switch the number. So let's talk about the original points and label them. Let's start with u. U is at -2, -1, 2, 3. Then we have v. V is at -1, -1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And t is at negative, here's our origin, so -1, 2, 3, 4. And I'm going down 1, 2, 3, 4. So what happens with our rule? Our rule tells us to switch the x and y position. If you look here, the x and y are switched. And make this new y opposite. So you're going to kind of do two things at the same time. So let's do this. Let's switch x and y first. So let's switch. So this is our original x, this is y. So I have -3, so this is what's going to happen. You're going to have an opposite of your new y and x. Opposite, opposite. Remember, it's not a negative, it's an opposite. So here's your x, here's your y, but your x is now here, your y is now here. Your x is now here, your y is now here. Why are we doing this? Because that's the rule and we're switching your values. So in here, I am plugging in our x value. Our x value is -2. What is our y value? -3. Our x value is -1. Our y value is -5. What is our y value? Our y value is -4. What is our x value? -4. Again, the negative here, right here, this means opposite. Opposite, opposite. Be careful. Don't let that negative trip you up. Okay, so let's label our points. I have u prime, v prime, and t prime. U prime, so I have the opposite of -3, which is a +3, and I have a -2. The opposite of -5 is a +5 and a -1. The opposite of a -4 is a +4, and then I have a -4. Let's graph this. 3 and -2, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2. U prime, make sure you're labeling it. 5 and -1, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, -1, that is V prime. And t prime is 4 and -4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. That is my t prime. Connect them. And you have now rotated your pre-image 90 degrees counterclockwise. All right, beautiful people, we're going to do lots more examples in class. I hope you enjoyed this video, and I will see you in my next one. Bye!